I lay awake waiting for the dawn to arrive so I could give up on the futile effort of trying to sleep. A feeling of unease was creeping up in my belly. It felt like the outer world was pressing in against my internal one, a sense of being caught in a thick fog. I felt empty of motivation or desire. The only urge I had was an intense compulsion to get outside, where the sting of cold air might help me breathe more easily. I made my way silently down the hill from my home, over the low stone wall, across the boggy field, slip-sliding along wet boulders towards the shore. The cloud was low and grey. The mountain behind me was dark, but rimmed in a soft pale glow from a slowly rising sun. The tide was not yet high, still filling into the bay. I searched between the rocks for pebbles that were smooth and round. When I had a handful, I formed them into a spiral on a patch of sand between the rocky reefs and waited. My mind was empty while I watched the tide slowly reclaim its belongings, lifting the dried-out fronds of seaweed and returning them to their fluid, supple state. The flower-like pink hydroids welcoming the return of the sea by unfurling their delicate tentacles in the rush of water. The barnacles fixed to the rocks just below the high tide line, opening their shells to feed. All life on this rocky shoreline adjusted to this tidal rhythm. The certainty of the tide, knowing it always returns, comforts me. I too respond to the rising tide, shedding the layers of my warm clothing and slowly stepping into the water. Feeling the persistent surge of the tide returning from the open ocean, I let it take me as if I was being swallowed whole, a rich return to wholeness. Sinking back into the watery embrace of the sea, my body momentarily released from the confines of gravity, floating free and held at the same time. In Ireland, there has always been a special acknowledgement of the power and potential of these places of encounter, these liminal spaces or thresholds where something is always about to begin or be lost. This understanding has become drastically subdued beneath layers of artificial lighting, the dominance of linear notions of time, the confinement of indoor living and attachment to screens, cocooning us from the unpredictable, changeable elements of the outdoors. Still, the reminders of our former intimacy with the living world remain present in the deliberate circular placement of ancient stones standing upright in a salt marsh, or the concentric circles carved into rocks and still visible thousands of years later, or the scraps of fabric tied to the branches of an ash tree next to a holy well, fresh water springing out of the ground above the tide line, where people still go to make offerings. These markers in the landscape are evidence of our lost attunement to the natural rhythms and cycles of life, the solar and lunar cycles and their sway over Earth's watery cycles, including ocean waves, tides, gestation, and menstruation. Natural cycles that, despite our separation from them, continue to coordinate and orchestrate the complex processes of life. A cyclical approach to life allows for both the ebb and the flow, the waxing and waning, the luminosity and the darkness. If something is lost, perhaps it can also be found again. Western science is just beginning to realize what indigenous cultures have always known, what our ancestors knew. Water has the power to heal. Engagement with healthy ocean environments can support, enhance, and restore our health and well-being, especially mental health. Time spent by the sea can boost our mood, increase our happiness, and lower the risk of anxiety and depression. The multisensory qualities of the sea, movement, touch, taste, sound, smell, colour, help us experience the living world more intimately. Being immersed in salt water alters bodily sensations, improves mobility, heart and lung functioning. Our health is inextricably linked to the health of the ocean. Understanding this extraordinary and complex relationship with the sea, and why it is vital that we heal and restore our relationship with it, fuels my work. Throughout my life, I've been drawn to water, And this book is the story of how my life has been shaped by the sea, and how the sea influences and shapes all our lives in unexpected ways. I draw on moments of encounter, those moments when I feel the pull of the sea most keenly, or the times when the sea held me when I needed to be healed.